Sweet. So I'm mainly going to share details about the food resources that we have at the Basic Needs Center. But, oh no. But that does not mean that we don't have other resources. I'll tell you a little bit about the other resources, but there will be, there are other people who know a lot more of the intimate details of our other resources. So for that reason, I'm going to go into depth about the resources that I directly work on day to day, and that actually most people access generally. So I think it's most relevant to the most people. And yeah, so with that, I will start moving forward. So who am I? My name is Natalia. I'm the food resource coordinator. So I am one of the full-time staff members for the Basic Needs Center on campus. And I am a Gemini, so I put this little meme, but I don't think all of these are necessarily true. It's just kind of funny. And I'm also a Taurus, but could not find, I'm like right on the cusp. I couldn't find a really good Taurus meme. There are a lot that are about like the same things. And I was like, these don't resonate. But things that I would really love to talk about are the food system near and around campus. I know it pretty well because I was a student at Berkeley until 2018. I worked for Cal Dining. I worked for a garden and for Basic Needs before it was a center. And so I'm really passionate about kind of those connections and how things could be improved. And also just the injustices and things, how they're perpetuated maybe on our campus. And yeah, benefits of CalFresh, which I'll get more into. Basic Needs Center outreach. I also work with our outreach team a lot. So if you have any questions about that, I also do like to grow food. I previously worked on a ranch and grew vegetables in Colorado. And so if anyone wants to know about how to grow herbs in a pot even, that is something I'm passionate about. So this slide is actually just a little bit of a total like zoom out of the Basic Needs Center, what we really use as our foundation for everything that we do. So just to take a look at the values over on the left, belonging and justice are like kind of the values that we root all of our work in. So everything that we do every day, we think about like, does this increase people's sense of belonging? Do we feel like we belong here? Do other people feel like they belong here? Then justice is just that we work to seek justice for our campus community, whether that be for international students, our undocumented students, undergrads, graduate students, our staff on campus, our visiting scholars. So really justice could mean a lot of different things, but always looking at it in a generative and resilient way. Yeah, and then our vision ultimately is for sustainable and transformative food, housing, and economic justice for the entire UC Berkeley community. One thing this doesn't look at, our mission, our vision, and our values, are other basic needs that we are now incorporating into our definition of basic needs, which is, you know, inclusive of transportation and things like mental health, sleep, like safety. So not just having a place to sleep, but do you feel safe there? Mental health is probably the biggest one that's kind of missing here, but currently our programs don't necessarily reach all of those parts of basic needs. It started out, just a year and a half ago at the center with the food, housing, and economic justice. So that's like the starting point, and then we're ultimately aiming for a lot fuller, broader coverage. Just so everyone knows, that's kind of where the program's at. We're always looking to improve and reach more things. So all of that to say, here are the food resources that I'm going to talk about today. And first one, everybody knows about the food pantry for the most part. If you don't though, we do have a food pantry. I'll show you this photo where it's at and kind of explain the process. That is our emergency food resource, which means it's when you need some physical food right now, that's where you go. We're open 5 days a week. A lot of people access it in a time of crisis need before you get other resources, in between resources. Sometimes certain resources require you to apply and that kind of thing. Food pantry does not. So that's why it's sort of like anybody can use it whenever they need it, that kind of thing. CalFresh is the next one I want to talk about. Just quick introduction to CalFresh. it is federally funded, but CalFresh is the state version of the federal program of SNAP, and that provides up to $200 a month for students. Actually, probably like 10,000 students qualify for CalFresh, and most of those people don't even realize that they qualify. So it's a program that has the potential to help a lot of people, but does have an application process. The other issue is, since it is federally funded, not everyone qualifies, and that is why the food assistance program is that last one. That's a campus-based program funded through other sources of money. So actually anyone who is not qualified for CalFresh could potentially be eligible for the food assistance program. I'll get into more details. So here is where we are located, a really high quality photo of the MLK Student Union on campus. And we are open right now. It's one of the few essential services on campus. So you can walk up from Bancroft, you can come down from on campus, from Upper Sproul, and you walk down the stairs to Lower Sproul, and the door right there is where people enter. Basically, we are there, and you walk through, and you get the food that you need that day. It's super easy. We just have a little check-in desk, and yeah, and then you exit there. So it's like a one-way flow. It's actually been pretty positively received. I think it's really safer than a grocery store. Because of just the way that we do it and the spacing so that everyone can stay 6 feet apart. And yeah, just know that you need to wear a mask and bring your ID if you have one. Here's some more information. So this says summer open hours. It's actually still the exact same, just didn't get changed, but fall open hours are the same. We're there Tuesday 12 to 5, 11 to 3 on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then Saturdays are 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're calling it a hybrid pop-up grocery bag pickup because it's not exactly what the pantry used to look like for people who have come to the pantry when it used to be in the basement. It was sort of more like you pick things off the shelves yourself and then you check out. And now we pack the bag for everybody who comes, but you still get the choice of what you want. So you point to things and say, I'll have one of those, 2 of those, and then you go down the line and your bag gets handed to you at the very end. We also, so like I said, you don't need to apply, you just come and bring your Cal ID, but it is really an emergency food resource, so it's not intended for someone to get their groceries at every week. It's really intended to meet the needs of people who cannot purchase groceries elsewhere, or before you're able to get on other food resources that are a little bit longer term, or maybe you just have a couple weeks or a month or end of the month where you just can't fulfill all your food needs, or you can't afford the full like nutrients that you know you need. Yeah, if you want to follow us on Facebook or Instagram, you can find us at UCB Food Pantry, I think is what it is on Instagram, and then UC Berkeley Food Pantry on Facebook. I didn't mention this either, but people are welcome to ask questions at any time. Let me see. Yeah, there's nothing in the chat, but please don't hesitate to ask questions as I go, or we can do questions at the end. I feel like I talk a lot and kind of fast, so definitely, yeah, ask anything. Okay, so a little bit of a longer term food resource is CalFresh. I mentioned this, it's federally funded nutrition assistance program. You can contact our campus team, which does the CalFresh application assistance. They're the ambassadors. That email right there is where you can reach them at regularly, but you can also sign up for CalFresh application assistance online. And I'm gonna send the link in the chat in a little bit. They do have an updated link. So I'm gonna send that in a moment. But you can, once you also get CalFresh, if you're eligible and you get your benefits, if you ever have issues, you can reach back out to our team. And that's kind of what our team is for, is to initially get people on CalFresh, give you that over $100 a month for food. And it'll be like on an EBT card, which is basically a debit card you can use at pretty much any grocery store, including Safeway, Trader Joe's, Berkeley Bowl, you know, all those places that you would probably normally seek to get your groceries, you can actually use CalFresh at, and those get preloaded every month. And then you can even go to like farmers markets, which are all open right now. Farmers markets also take EBT. They have a booth usually at one part of the farmers market where you go and you actually swipe it and you get some like farmers market coins to use and all of this type of thing. If you have questions about it, our CalFresh team is there to help. They also will help connect you to somebody if you have a more complicated case or if you get denied and want to appeal. Like at the bottom here, there are appeal clinics. So it can be daunting. I think a lot of people are a little afraid of the process of applying, but once you get a meeting and you can do one-on-one like application assistance, they'll really just walk you through the process and they're trained, they know it pretty well and can make it simpler because doing it on your own is not necessarily the easiest thing. Yeah. This is a little bit more about eligibility, but I honestly recommend just reaching out to our CalFresh team to find out if you're eligible. That's actually the best way to do it rather than worrying about this. Just reach out and talk to somebody one-on-one and they'll figure out if you can apply or not. Last thing, any undocumented students or international students will not be eligible for CalFresh. So the food assistance program is the alternative. Not quite as many people really are qualified or can be eligible for the food assistance program, so I won't really go into it too much, but ultimately it's an equivalent of CalFresh and will help you more long-term have that money you need for groceries. Oh no, there we go. So our Basic Needs Center has a lot of drop-in services. Many of them are food-related, but not all of them. So here are the food-related ones. We also have typically like Berkeley Rent Board, tenant rights. That's something that has been in the past a regular drop-in service. Also with financial aid, there are regular drop-in hours as well. So if you have specifically financial aid questions, that can be really helpful. We actually have someone who we work directly with in the Financial Aid Center. Bears for Financial Success is also awesome, but they are a student-run team, so they're two different, whether you're looking for peer-to-peer financial support or more on-campus, someone who knows the campus policies, financial support, those are like the two different things there. Nutrition counseling is awesome too, and I know the dietitian who does those. Her name is Elizabeth, and she is pretty great. So I can also send you all a link to our living document, which has a little bit more detailed information about how to actually access these drop-in services. They're not all in the PowerPoint, so yeah. Okay, this is a little highlight I wanted to add in here. This is starting next week. It's gonna be like a Zoom cook-along. It's like a cooking class, but virtual. And we actually have the ingredients that we will be packing up into a bag for people to pick up. So if you're interested in cooking, you all are, in a nutrition seminar, so you might be. This would be really fun. If you're in Berkeley, come by on Friday and Saturday this week, pick up an ingredient bag. It'll have the recipe and everything attached. And then you can log in at lunchtime on Tuesday and make yourself lunch along with the dietitian from Tang. She's just super cool and excited about the recipe she's gonna help everyone make. And you'll get free ingredients to do it. So it's kind of like a win-win. Let me know if you have questions about that. All right, that's about it. Like I said, I'm gonna look at the CalFresh new link to actually directly sign up for CalFresh application support. If nobody has done that yet, please look in the chat for that in a moment. Does anyone have any questions? I'm gonna stop screen sharing, but feel free, I'll still be here.
Hi, Natalia. I just have a couple questions on behalf of everyone, I guess, in the class. Is there any way that we could share a copy of the slides for students on our B courses?
I'm gonna update the few things that I realized were not up to date before I send it. And that way, I hope I know that sometimes things can be a little confusing, especially like CalFresh versus the food assistance application. So hopefully the slides do make that kind of clear and lay it out there. So yes, I will send it so that people can look back at it. And let me find the CalFresh link again right now so that everybody has it, because I kept mentioning it. Hold on.
We can always send it out in an announcement later if that's more convenient for you.
Oh, it's so easy though. Okay, I just needed to check what it was.
Okay.
Oh,
We can
thank
do
you.
both.
Yeah, it's just a calendly.com/Berkeley CalFresh. That's it. There we go.
Great. Thanks,
Anyone have
Natalia.
other questions?
I have another question. I guess since I'm far removed from campus right now, I was wondering like in what ways I guess if you're in Berkeley, in what ways can people be involved with like the operations of the Basic Needs Center, both like this semester, but maybe in the future if they're really interested in like food stuff or like housing and anything like that?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So the Basic Needs Center has obviously a lot of volunteers that come for our pantry operations to keep us running. And so that's always an opportunity to come in person and be a volunteer. But we do an internship program every year as well. And the internship program helps you get intimately involved with all of our different groups or student leads, basically. So we have a housing lead, we have CalFresh, the CalFresh team, so you could be an intern for that team. You could be an intern for our outreach team and really just work on making all of our resources more available and more accessible to everyone and talking to people about them. There's also our food pantry team, which has a couple interns usually, and food recovery. So there are a lot of different areas within our internship program, but that's a really great way because then you can also get credit. You can get units for it and do work that you're passionate about at the same time. So that's the best way. But it's actually closed for this semester. So I would say either sign up for our newsletter, which is one of the links on the very last slide, or you can get newsletter updates, and then within that newsletter we'll send out information about next semester's internship program, or follow us on Facebook, Basic Needs Center, UC, I think it's UC Berkeley Basic Needs Center. Really easy to find, but follow us there. We always post about the internship program.